Hi, I'm Zach,
And I'm Logan.
and today we're talking about Kaizen, what it is, why it's important, and how you can adopt it into your everyday life. Kaizen originates in post-World War II Japan and was adopted by Toyota, a Japanese manufacturer. It's focused on continual incremental improvement, and everyone is responsible for improvement, not just leaders.
Kaizen can be broken down into two words, Kai, which means change, and Zen, meaning good. And this was originally a Japanese business philosophy, but we can apply it to our own personal lives.
When talking about Kaizen, it's important to note that it's 1% growth every day compounded. You can't expect to start and immediately see massive results. But at the end of the year, you'll be able to look back and see you're 37% better than you were to begin with.
So this is what the graph of Kaizen looks like. On the x-axis we have time, and the y-axis we have growth. So you would think it would be a linear path just going straight up like so. 1% growth every day, you would think. But this is not actually how it works. Life is about understanding that you're going to go back down, you're going to have setbacks, but eventually, over time, those setbacks are going to teach you things, you're going to learn. And that 1% growth is going to start compounding, which is then going to lead to increased growth overall. So this is where you could be by the end of the year if you just followed a linear path. But if you follow the path of Kaizen and take 1% growth every single day, learning from your mistakes, trying to improve, you'll get significantly higher.
Some other things that Kaizen is not perfectionism. Kaizen is about taking action every day and trying to do better, but making mistakes is part of the process. In fact, it's encouraged. If you don't make mistakes, then you never grow. So you can't go in thinking that everything you do needs to be perfect or flawless or exact. Have fun, just take action.
Kaizen is not waking up at 4 a.m. if you can't even get up at 7. It's about taking the small steps every single day. If it's feeling like you're burnt out, that's your ego taking over, and that's not Kaizen. That's not 1% growth. That's just negative growth.
Throughout my life, up until a couple of months ago, I would struggle waking up every morning and making a plan for myself, but then never actually following through on it. This is because every day I would want to do everything perfectly, exactly as it should be. And the idea that I couldn't do it perfectly really kept me from ever taking that first step. But not taking that first step meant I never went anywhere. I stayed exactly where I was and exactly as hopeless as I was, until I finally decided to take that first step, look past the idea that I might not actually be perfect, and finally take control of my life.
As the saying goes, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And that's exactly what the Kaizen mentality is. Slowly getting there, gradually. It's not about biting off more than you can chew. It's about putting in the effort consistently every single day to become the person you want to be. And that's small change, but small change becomes big change as it continues to compound and compound.
Now, if you're thinking to yourself, what do I do now? I have this knowledge, but I don't know how to actually implement it. Where do I go from here? Don't worry. We're going to give you some easy little things you could do today that can really help you move forward and develop your professional life.
If you've ever read Atomic Habits by James Clear, one of the biggest things he talks about is building an identity for yourself. And that's what Kaizen is. Taking the steps every single day to show yourself who you are. So if you want to become a runner, you tell yourself, I am a runner, and you don't run a marathon your first day of becoming a runner. No, instead, the first week, you just lace up your running shoes and set 5 minutes of just walking. And then the next week, maybe you go for a little bit of a jog. And then over time, you're slowly going to build up to that marathon. If you want to start reading, well then, you don't read a book every single week. Instead, you read 10 pages every night right before you go to bed. If you want to go to the gym, but you can't get the motivation to do so, 10 push-ups every single morning, 10 sit-ups, 10 air squats. It's just about consistently showing up and consistently putting in the work to make these gradual changes that will then compound, and you'll go from doing 10 push-ups to doing 20 push-ups with ease. And that's what Kaizen is all about.
Now, we understand that everybody has different lives. You might be very busy some days and have nothing going on another day. So it could be very hard to stay consistent and maintain a solid schedule. But we're not talking about changing your entire life overnight. We're talking about 1% every day. And everybody has time for 1%. There's no excuse to not read before going to bed or do 10 push-ups when you get up in the morning. You got this.
And remember, it's about action over perfection, making momentum every single day to achieve your goals. And Kaizen isn't about comparing yourself to another person. It's not about beating your friend. It's not about competition. The only competition you have is the person you were yesterday. And that's why it's 1%. 1% more, 1% better than you were yesterday. That's what Kaizen is.
Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe.
Comment one habit you're committing to improving by 1% every day. Thanks.